kitchen, and no one wants to be washing a sink full of dishes on a hot summer night, namely this guy right here. Here to wow us with a one-pot meal that's healthy, it's light, it's delicious, is the amazing Pamela Salzman. Welcome back, Pamela.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
Thanks.
This looks so good. And Debbie, Paige, and Kim agree. They are going to be waiting patiently for this. So let's just give us a little brief kind of rundown of this one-pot wonder. Tell us about it.
So I think everybody's default dish is like a pasta dish, right? But pasta can kind of spike your blood sugar a little high. It's very easy to overeat.
Yep.
So instead of doing that, we're going to get the flavors of a very common pasta dish called pasta Primavera, but we're going to use Farro, which is a whole grain. So it just gives you a slower burning fuel.
I have never cooked with Farro, which shouldn't be too surprising because I haven't cooked with a lot of things. But Farro in particular. Okay, here we go. You got all the ingredients lined out here.
Yeah.
And as we're just going to enter all, like you said, into one pot.
It's so easy.
Tell us a little bit about each one. So tell me about Farro.
So Farro does contain gluten. So if you can't do gluten, you want to swap out for something like brown rice. But it's a whole grain, and it's an ancient grain. But the important part about whole grains is that they give you that fiber, which can help stabilize blood sugar.
That's right.
So we're going to stick this in the pot first. But if anybody has said to you before, like, you got to keep your blood sugar stable, it's all about getting in that healthy fiber.
It's the difference between getting sort of a long-lasting energy versus that short burst of energy where you kind of crash after, right? So this is that sort of long-term energy. It's a slower digestion for sure, easier on the blood sugar.
And then you can use water or you can use something like a chicken stock, whatever you have on hand. I've made this just as often with water, so don't stress if you don't have stock.
Okay.
And then we're going to start layering flavors, and we're not pre-sauteing anything. That's how easy this is. So we've got some onion in here. Just going to put that on top, sliced thinly. Then we've got our little Italian power couple of garlic and a little bit of crushed red pepper. Now the crushed red pepper is not super spicy, but it just gives you that little something like, what's in there?
That was dangerous, Cameron.
I know.
Cameron just went in for
I went in there. I
was hoping for not a delayed reaction.
No, that was good. I just, you know, all the peppers have a slightly different flavor.
Correct.
So I was checking it out.
So I love using that combination. And then some olive oil. Every pasta dish and sauce needs to have some good olive oil.
Absolutely.
And then some salt and pepper, and you can do pepper to taste.
Okay, good.
And then we want to make this a little bit saucy, right? So
saucy.
Tomatoes.
So tomato, a little saucy. A little saucy in the literal term. It's saucy.
But this time of year is when you're getting your tomatoes in season. So you can take cherry tomatoes and slice them up and then put them in here. These are just regular kind of standard vine tomatoes. But even if you don't have fresh, you can take a jar. And you can...
No problem.
No problem.
Absolutely. Out of season, no problem, everybody.
This is your base.
Okay, and you don't want to stir it too much, I understand.
Oh, well, I'm glad you read the notes. Because
Did my research.
If you do stir this too much, you end up with something that's like risotto. And then the starch gets agitated from the grain, and then it releases into your dish, and then it gets super gluey and kind of sticky. So we want this to be nice and separate and light.
Very nice. So do you stir it at all, or you just leave it kind of like that?
Yeah. Like I tell my cooking class students, I'm like, don't make things up. If it's not written, don't do it. So we're not going to stir it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really easy. So now you can decide, like, what do you have in the fridge? I'm a big one for no waste. So I might have, like, a little handful of frozen artichokes in the freezer. I'll throw those in. Or a handful of frozen peas. Or we had a couple of carrots or zucchini. Like, whatever you have, it's going to work pretty much.
Okay, very good.
So if it's a longer cooking vegetable, like something a little hard.
Like a carrot.
Like a carrot. You want to put that in now. And then what we'll do is we're going to cover this. And we're going to bring this to a simmer. We're going to partially cover it like that. And it will cook for about 20 minutes because I want to add these vegetables, asparagus and zucchini, which don't take that long to cook.
That's right.
So we'll time this for 20. Then we've got a little swap out here.
We're going to jump ahead here, so we'll let that sort of simmer for 20 minutes. Then you put in the quicker cooking vegetables.
And then you put in the quicker cooking ones.
It's not easy to say.
And then you're going to let this cook for 10 minutes.
You don't stir that either.
Nope.
So this is done in 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Start to finish.
No stirring. I mean, one pot.
You barely have to wash dishes if you just eat straight out of
Okay.
it.
I mean, this has got my
Thank
name.
me now or later.
This has got my name written all over it.
I know. It couldn't be easier. And like, again, like you said, in the summertime, nobody wants to be doing too much in the kitchen and
too hot.
Sweating over the stove. Yeah. And then the, pots and pans, etc. So what we've done at the end is we threw in some basil.
Yep.
That's
and
beautiful.
now if you wanted to stir this up, you can.
Okay.
But I like treating this like
so
pasta.
pretty. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's
Great.
like a Primavera, right? Which is all those great springy vegetables and summer vegetables. So
Can I just start serving it? Because that's what I'm
start
doing.
Don't forget about
Start
that
serving it.
Parmesan
I'm not. I was going to do it on individual
Okay, all
servings.
right. And while
Isn't
you're
that fancy?
serving,
Yes.
not only do you have a beautiful cookbook, Kitchen Matters, but like you just alluded to a little earlier, you are teaching cooking classes.
Yes, that's
Tell us about those.
That's my
Pamela.
full-time job.
Thank
so
you.
I do teach cooking classes. I teach them in person to groups, but I started something last year for people that couldn't come to my classes to be able to take them online. So I tape them and then offer them on an online platform. So it's really fun, and I've got a nice little community there of people that are taking these classes.
This
and this
is
recipe
phenomenal.
is from that. Yeah.
This is an
Like it?
exclusive online recipe.
This is right, exclusive online recipe.
Oh my
This is
gosh,
from
Paige.
my classes last month. So doesn't it give you that feel of like that pasta primavera?
It really does.
Right. And I also find that with pasta, it's so easy to overeat, but not necessarily with farro. And we're also bulking it up with vegetables. So something that I think is really consistent with all of the diets out there is nobody is not telling you to eat more vegetables. Like
That's right.
That's right.
everybody
True.
says
That's
eat more
the
vegetables.
constant.
Like if you're vegan or paleo or
Keto
keto,
even.
whatever, even
Anything.
keto,
All of it.
vegetables are welcome at their party too.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
So you have to try and incorporate more vegetables into your diet somehow. And this is a really delicious way to do it.
I'll tell you what, this is the greatest way to eat your vegetables.
Yes.
This is phenomenal.
so-
Disguised. They're disguised as pasta. So
You're a
they're so
Parmesan guy,
yummy.
right?
I'm a Parmesan guy,
Yeah,
yes.
cool.
It's one of the cheeses that I can have. So
Oh,
there
good.
you go.
Ma'am,
That's
you're
what
gonna
I
love
thought.
this.